Pakistan may have earned, diplomatic praise for helping facilitate the US-Iran peace framework, but can foreign policy victories hide the domestic failure? Former Singapore ambassador, Bilahari Kausikan, believes they cannot. In a blunt assessment, he says diplomatic rehabilitation does little when millions continue to struggle with inflation, debt, and food insecurity. His message was very clear. Headlines abroad cannot substitute what's really happening at home, the governance at home. And perhaps the most striking part of Kausikan's remarks was what he refused to accept. He rejected the argument that Pakistan's geography or difficult neighbors, like, according to Pakistan, like India, are responsible for its trouble. Instead, the former envoy, he squarely blamed decades of political mismanagement and an overbearing military establishment. According to him, Pakistan's biggest crisis is not external pressure, but the system that has governed the country since its birth, and calling Pakistan a state teetering on the brink of failure is not ordinary diplomatic language. Kausikan argued that while Islamabad successfully seized a diplomatic opportunity, the country's structural problems remain untouched, like mounting debt, repeated dependence on international bailouts, and continuing economic distress cannot be erased by a single foreign policy success or by blaming the neighbors. And we have Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee, who's continuing to stay on with us. Ambassador, Pakistan has finally run out of excuses, and every international platform it mentions India, the next thing that it faces is a shutdown speech from the opposition, whoever is listening to it. It's become a habit for Pakistan.
Well, the problem is that those who rule Pakistan are not the civilians, but the military. It's a facade, a civilian facade, but it's run by the military. And for the Pakistani army and those who rule Pakistan, hatred for India is their raison d'être. Hatred for India helps them to cause a diversion from their grave internal developmental issues, as you pointed out, very high inflation, inability to protect the most vulnerable for food, housing, shelter, uh, and also the very high-handed behavior of the Pakistani elite, particularly the Punjab elite, which is now the news has broken that the grandson of the Pakistani foreign minister has been involved in a gang rape, abduction, torture, and horrific behavior towards two women, one Dutch and one Venezuelan, in Islamabad. So these are all indications that show that law and order domestically is not in a good situation, that Pakistan's fault lines are increasing by the day, that Pakistan has parts of it which are not really under its control, including Baluchistan, including the Durand line with Afghanistan, etc. And none of that has come from India. Their biggest mistake was to do the Pahalgam attack based on singling out one religion. They hoped that by doing that, they would cause communal riots, they would stop the development process in J&K, etc., etc. None of that happened. Instead, we had Sindoor, and we had the decision taken to put the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. That is coming back to haunt them in a big way because we are the upper riparian. We have full rights under international law. We gave them too much water out of pure foolishness when we had just become independent to show generosity which was misplaced and should never have been extended. Now that we've corrected it, now they have a big problem. They tried to threaten us on our eastern border, but there too there are two rivers where we are upper riparian and which we can use if push comes to shove to bring some sense into both these neighbors. So I think that, and you talked about mediation externally. Actually, if, as when professional diplomats understand talk of mediation, we understand the mediator as being a powerful country acceptable to all parties in the conflict. This mediator is not powerful either economically or politically and is not acceptable to all parties because it is not acceptable to Israel. But Israel is very much a party to the conflict along with US and Iran. So if you have a mediator which does not have diplomatic relations with one party, and that party is completely opposed to it being mediator, then your efforts are going to go nowhere. On top of that, it actually helps the Israelis to carry on with their policy of taking out useful negotiators and to keep the region in a state of conflict, because it indicates that actually at the end of the day, it is Israel which calls the shots and not the United States and not the Iranians. Israel has actually demonstrated, just as Iran has, that it has huge nuisance value as far as a peace deal is concerned. If they don't want a peace deal, they don't allow a peace deal, you won't get a peace deal. So the Americans have now understood that there are not two parties to the conflict, US and Iran. There are three parties, US, Iran, and Israel, and this so-called mediator, this so-called field marshal.
Pakistan claims that it has mastered diplomacy, but Ambassador, closing remarks. I want you to speak to me on this. When Pakistan claims that it has mastered international diplomacy, and a former Singapore envoy says diplomacy doesn't really feed people, isn't that the harshest reality check for Islamabad yet?
But it's a fact
Yeah, it's a
that,
fact. Yeah.
for instance, when developing countries talk of human rights, we always talk about economic, social rights being as important as political rights, because a man who has no food in his stomach, if he casts his vote, he gets only 50% of what he is due. He needs to have housing, food, shelter, and democracy and the right to ballot. That's what we have always argued for, those of us who work in the UN on human rights. And this is a complete violation because the people of Pakistan are completely neglected. There's no development, and half the aid money is diverted either to feed the top elite in the army, most of whom have families living in the US, or to buy more weapons to
That's right.
threaten India, etc. It doesn't go towards development. But ultimately, that would lead to fragmentation and disintegration of the state of Pakistan, which might collapse into two or three rump states. And then we need to take a hard look, maybe in your next debate, as to whether that's really in India's national interest to have one inimical enemy or
Right.
one enemy and two friendly rump states. That's something which deserves a
Right. I
separate
think it's time for
debate.
Pakistan to look inward, fix its own issues before blaming India, unnecessarily. And time and again they get shut down. But thank you, Ambassador, for taking your time out on this special discussion.